Welcome.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Privilege, man. You've had some really awesome guests over the past. I've had a quick, I've only come to know you really recently, over Twitter, actually. I started my Instagram for my Airsoft account a while back, and I thought, oh, let's give Twitter a go. And somehow, I found you on there because and
That's
obviously that's how
awesome.
you reached out as well. I mean, I was really confused. You're like, yeah, you want to join the podcast? I'm like, hang on.
You're like,
As you
what?
know, I've only done like 2 games of
Yeah.
Airsoft in my life. Like, and you're like, yeah, it's fine. I'm like, cool.
So, give you a heads up. I've never played airsoft, and I run an airsoft podcast. so, um,
This is awesome.
so you don't.
Yeah,
So,
it's cool.
and
Yeah,
I feel like hopefully that puts people at ease when I tell them that. So we're not going to talk all the tech stuff or all the. I don't. There's still
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of stuff I don't know about airsoft. Uh, our channel started out with unboxings, mystery boxes and reviews. So I've handled a lot of these airsoft guns. I'm familiar with a lot of them. I've taken them apart and fixed them, and just basic stuff. But I'm not like if you tell me a certain brand and some I'm if it's like a real niche kind of brand or something, I might not have heard of it. I don't know. So I'm not an airsoft guru for sure. I am. I love people, and when this turned into a podcast after my boys got pretty much life happened for them. They got married, they got they started working more and bought houses and stuff. So they were getting kind of out of airsoft, and I was continuing the channel. I started talking with people, learned that I loved it. It really helped me in a time of
That's
in a
cool,
bad
man.
spot, right when I was coming out of a bad spot. And this is a way for me to give back to the community. So to get all these different people and all these different stories out there, and now you're part of it. So I appreciate you being on, man.
Still very welcome. And again, thank you. But yeah, that's awesome. And it's so cool that I find it quite intriguing actually. You haven't played it, but you're running this podcast. But I guess you're right. Like there's so much you can learn about a thing, by just having conversations and not just about like the topic of airsoft, but like it's out that you genuinely are quite interested in people and their stories. And I think that's the prevailing thing for humanity in general over the past since we've existed. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
everything is about a narrative of some kind. The great narratives of our time.
right.
Star Wars, the Bible, whatever. Like there's so much
Exactly.
in there. Yeah, for sure.
And we love
Um,
stories. We love story. We're
yeah,
intrigued by stories, and we're really interested in finding out about a person's story, right? Their backstory. Like,
100%, man.
yeah, man, it's very cool. So give a little history about yourself, and I really know very little about you because, like, we just met on Twitter,
Yeah,
like, really recently, and I was really excited to invite you on through Twitter because I have I'm looking at my Twitter right now. I have 30 followers on Twitter. So there's nobody. And you and I connected through there. So I was like, yes, finally somebody through
yeah,
Twitter because I've been talking to the airsoft community like, hey, can y'all guys just go over to Twitter instead of Instagram? Because a lot of their posts get taken down off of
yeah,
Instagram. And
yeah.
nobody goes over here, man. I'm just like I'm
Nah,
still sitting
man.
at 30 followers.
The Japs love it though. There's so many guys in airsoft in Japan, but I can't read any of their stuff, dude. That's all in, I can't read
Right.
Japanese.
That's
So
true.
like there's it's not many like American Australia like Australians don't even do airsoft. I don't know what's wrong with them, but
That's true. Yeah.
they have to come here. They have to come all the way to New Zealand to play this game, by the way. It's kind of interesting enough.
Is
There actually are
Australia
guys who do that.
close to New Zealand?
Yeah, we're neighbors. So
Okay.
we Australia and New Zealand have got a long standing history of like working together. In fact, just 2 days ago, we celebrated or commemorated what's called Anzac Day. So that was when the Australian New Zealand Army Corps were deployed to Gallipoli. The
Mm,
Gallipoli campaign was just brutal in World War One. You had them trying to think of Hacksaw Ridge as the cliff edge of what you're trying to get over,
yeah.
and if you get over that, you're basically just trench warfare, and you've got people dying of everything, from shells, from bad rations to really bad conditions, and it's brutal. So we've yeah, literally 2 days ago just commemorated that.
Okay.
Australian New Zealand Army Corps, so Anzac Day, and
Are you from New
yeah,
Zealand originally?
yeah.
Okay.
Born and bred. I know more about my dad's side than I do my mum's. My dad, they had like done all their homework on all their family tree and stuff. I'm apparently my I don't even know how distant it is, but the
Right.
distant relative far back as the 1600s, back in Suffolk, England, apparently. Yeah, from memory, I think it could. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that far away ago. And then they came here in 1844, I think,
Okay.
to Nelson, and that's when the first of my dad's side was here. And then so that's yeah a long time. My
It
family's
is.
been here in New Zealand. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
You know what's weird is when I'm doing this family tree stuff, it is my wife and I have been doing the family tree for quite a few years, just here and there, and we'll go in there every so often. So then the last like 3 months, I started doing it again, and I found on her side of the family, I was able to find and go back relatives all the way to the 1300s
Wow,
on her dad's side. It was amazing,
that's
dude. It
insane,
was crazy.
man.
So
Wow.
somebody, and the thing was, a lot of the information was filled in. So they had like somebody put family crests, pictures of their family crest or whatever. Like, so somebody had filled that stuff in, and I was able to just kind of, just look at what they had done over the years, and it's pretty amazing. So I
A
love.
crest, is it Scottish or where are you from?
Her
Like
last
back.
name is her maiden name is Christie, and so yeah, um, what is that? Irish and then or maybe it's Scottish. I can't remember.
I know
So,
the Scottish are real big on having family crests. So like I'm not
oh
Scottish, I
yeah,
don't think, but I used to be in a Scottish pipe band, fun fact. No visual or audio evidence of this ever existing, but it definitely happened.
I
I'm
was about to
glad
ask.
because
Let's go. Where's the video? Come on.
not gonna happen. It's not because I wiped it off the face of the earth. It's just that was pre-cell phone, like
Right.
yeah. I mean, my dad did have a camcorder and stuff, but thank God that was never used. I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with wearing a kilt, nothing wrong with all that, but
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know, it's just
Well,
kind of
her
funny,
mom's side is her mom's dad was Scottish, so she used to
Oh yeah,
dance in the Scottish games growing up, kind of like what you're talking
yeah,
about. And she used to do
yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah,
the kilt dancing or whatever you call it, the with the girls, And
yeah,
yeah, it's pretty funny. She's got some pictures. Yep.
yeah, yeah. No, that's cool. Funny fact, actually, I got a dog, and he goes out with this guy Keith. He's Scottish, and I find the best way to get the dog to listen to me now is to talk Scottish.
No
I found
way,
this out
dude.
like 3 days ago. So I'll be like, he'll be barking, right? He'll be barking like for minutes. I'm like, oh, Ben, what you doing, lad? Shut up. And he's like, what's up? What's up?
And he listens. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's hilarious. So I just got to put on my Scottish accent, and he's like, all right, okay, all right.
Well, you do it well. I love the Scottish accent too, man.
Oh, all of them sound amazing. Yeah, I work with kids, and sometimes I just mess with them a little bit by just switching up the accents, and they just get confused. It's a way of redirecting their attention. It's so funny.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm actually by trade, I'm a early childhood teacher.
Oh,
That's not what you'd expect, I guess, because most guys don't. But I did
right.
start off in primary, which is, I guess, for you guys, what is that like? Um,
It's called,
elementary? Yeah, I
yeah,
did
it's called
elementary
elementary
school. Yeah,
school or primary. Yeah, yep, primary
yeah,
school.
yeah. So I did primary school, and then I did intermediate, which I think would be equivalent to your junior high.
Yep,
I think. Yeah.
middle school.
So
Yep.
yep. So I started with that, and then those are fixed term contracts, and then I moved into early childhood just because of that was what was available at the time.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked back. It's actually it's an awesome job. It takes a hell of a lot of patience. If anyone's been a parent that's listening to this and watching this, you're like, all right, game on. I mean, I
Yeah.
get dads coming in, mums coming in, like, how do you do it? Because I can just see behind me just kids everywhere. I'm like, I love it. I love it. It's
Yeah.
not for everyone for sure, man. Like yeah, it's a different kind of skill set.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
What got you interested in that?
So if we backtrack to when I was in high school, I was in the cadets, so that's kind of like scouts, but
Okay.
um,
Do you learn like
I'm not
basic
gonna get.
skills, like life
Yeah, like we
skills
did
and
we did drill, we did marching, we basically wear the exact same uniform as the regular force. So there's the Navy cadets, Army cadets, Air Force cadets, and I live close to Ohakia Air Base. So we used to see jets flying around before they got rid of them. New Zealand don't have any jets anymore.
oh,
They
really?
just don't have the need. Yeah, we got rid of them in like early 2000. When was it? I think
I actually know
I
very
can't remember
little about
when.
New Zealand history and like like the government setup or military. I don't I have
Yeah, yeah.
no clue. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've only got a population of like under 5 million people. Like
Whoa.
that's a city somewhere. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like
Okay.
I live in Auckland City, so we have a population of about 1.4 million, and even our capital is less than 1 million people. Like it's a very small country.
Yeah.
Most of it is farmland or national reserve. It's a beautiful place. Like if you ever wanted to go somewhere that's safe, that's beautiful, that people are generally pretty friendly, New Zealand's awesome, man. Like it's
Really?
beautiful, but it's far from everything. So like when I want to travel, like you have to really like go on a whole bunch of planes and go for a lot of time, to get anywhere. But
Hmm.
yeah, I've sidetracked. Where were we? We were
Oh,
going
how
somewhere.
you got into or how you got
Y-
interested in teaching?
Yes, cadets. So I started off as a cadet and I was 15, I think. A buddy of mine in high school was doing it. And he's like, hey man, come along, let's be fun. And I thought it was really weird when I first turned up, all these guys shuffling around, when you're doing drill, you have all this right dress and you're sort of
Oh,
shuffling around trying to get everyone into the right formation. I sort of looked goofy as. But I
yeah.
was like, what are these guys doing? You guys are a bunch of tryhards trying to look like military, but I loved it. I loved it, like I was a kid. And I once you get into different ranks, like corporal, you actually start to teach lessons. So that was my first teaching experiences when I was 15, 16 years old. I became a
Okay.
corporal, and you learn about how to structure lessons. You have your scope, what you're going to cover. You kind of go through your plan, and you kind of work through that. It's kind of like it's the same concept I actually applied all the way through my teaching career in primary and intermediate, for sure. Like it's the
Yeah.
same thing. And honestly, I wouldn't be in teaching if it wasn't for cadets, for sure. Like at the time when I was in cadets, I was like, I'm going to be in the Air Force. I'm going to be a pilot. Like, of course, you think that
Sure.
it's not easy though. Like, I wasn't exactly a brain box. I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, for sure. Like, I was not that guy.
Me neither.
Um, yeah. Shout out to not sharp tool guys, but like, it's just, yeah. Yeah. So that's what started it all, and that's what got me interested. In like I've always been interested in warfare, combat, service. My favorite movies growing up, like Black Hawk Down, Saving Private Ryan. My favorite miniseries of all time is Band of Brothers. Like it's just
Bro.
the concept, like the dude,
Yes.
yeah.
For real.
That's still I got that thing on DVD, man. Like that just
Yep.
deserves to be kept in the shelf, yeah, for
I do
sure.
too,
And
yeah.
yes,
What
that's
about have
what's
you
up.
seen Fury? That movie Fury?
Oh, I love that movie, man. That was
Dude,
awesome.
that was
It's
so
just that,
intense.
yes. It's just that concept of like, look, we're just gonna give them everything we have until we are just unable to even flinch.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah. Oh, so good, man.
It was like
Yeah.
really gritty, man. Like, bro,
Yeah.
holy cow. Yeah.
But that's war, man. Like, it's just war's brutal. I mean, I was watching a documentary with my wife the other night about the Cold War, leading into the Cold War and atomic bombs and stuff, and the amount of people that died in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I'm like, oh crap, it's a lot of people dead,
Yeah.
like, and war is brutal, but that's what it was. Like, it's just that's what you had to do, try and put a stop to more of it. It's just
Yeah.
it's a really weird ethics and what's okay, what's not okay, and everything. It's very
Right.
confusing, like what. Yeah, it's yeah, it's tricky, man. But
Yeah, we've
so
been
yeah,
stuck on
moving
that cycle for a long time. Like, let's just kill everyone. Like, bro,
to
like, can we go like 5 years.
Yeah.
Can the whole world just go five
Yeah.
years without just slaughtering everybody? I don't know.
It's exactly what she was saying. She's like, we're watching this and she just couldn't help. I was like, can we all just get along? Like, why do we have to kill
I
everyone?
know. I know.
But it's
Yeah.
yeah, but we've got it's tricky. Like you've got different ideologies, you've got different people that are like they're married to their beliefs to the point where they'll die for that. And then you've got another person who's exactly the same in the other spectrum, and then you have a problem. So it's just you've got a lot of that in the world, and yeah, so you get proxy wars. That's how you
Yeah.
get um people like, no, you've offended me, you've offended my God or my deity or whatever. It's or whatever, whatever,
Yep.
however wars
Yep.
start. It's just
Now, how did you grow
it's
up? Like your
yeah.
family, was it kind of like your belief system, and were you guys religious? Were you guys
Yeah,
what kind of? Okay.
yeah. I went to church every day. I don't right now. The way I explain my relationship with God is that me and him are on speaking terms.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I
That's that's a
can't
good.
say that I love him or anything. I'm not there. I'm not like a. I don't feel that emotion, so I'm not going to lie to him.
Yeah.
I think he'd rather. I think if I think he'd respect my honesty as opposed to me lying to him. Sometimes, yeah, when I was in church or whatever, everyone's singing these songs. I'm like, I can't mean that, so I'm not going to sing that. So
Gotcha.
instead,
So
I,
honesty and being genuine is important to you, which you
yeah,
fit perfectly for this podcast because that's what I'm about. So
yeah. Well, I don't like being told what to think.
yeah,
I
right.
like to try and figure it out.
Yep, same.
And the concept that I understood from when I read Psalms was that God loved David. David was honest. He
Yeah.
wasn't perfect, but he was honest.
Hmm.
So I took that and I was like, okay, I will do my best, and I'm not always on it. I try to be, but
Sure.
if someone wants to know what's going on, what are you thinking? I'm like, yeah. So yeah, yeah. At least I try to stay true to myself, and
Right.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Were
But
your
no, yeah,
parents? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I
Oh,
grew
go
up
ahead.
Christian. So my
Okay.
parents were, both of them were, um, uh, to the point where this is interesting. I hope they don't mind me telling, but like they wouldn't let me watch TV at all. They would, so this is back, with VCRs and stuff. So they would actually record stuff that we're allowed to watch,
Yeah.
and we could just watch the VCR. They just wouldn't, and I get it. I
I
mean,
was I
even
was raised the same way.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I get, and they got rid of the ads, so I wasn't annoyed. I was like, sweet, there's no ads in this film. That's great. I get
No,
to
I
watch
know,
all the
right?
stuff, and I can revisit it whenever I want. I can just put it back, so I didn't mind. But they took a lot
Yeah.
of care to make sure that I um think of it like a food pyramid, but a content pyramid. They wanted to make sure I wasn't just going for the really crap stuff all the time, and wanted to make sure that I wasn't just yeah doing
That's
this.
good. I mean, that's good
Yeah,
parents, man.
yeah,
My parents were
yeah.
really strict, and they were Christian, and it was we went to church all the time, and we went to church on Sundays. We went to church. We had a prayer meeting on Wednesdays. I had youth group when I was a teenager. I had youth group on Friday nights, and and then we would go on Sundays. So I grew up, and the church they were a part of was really strict, and I'm talking like
Right.
no, like really strict of music. I wasn't allowed to listen to rock music. Um, there was you and they were strict down to your clothing. Like I wasn't allowed to wear Levi's jeans or like regular
Oh
jeans.
my gosh.
Oh yeah.
That's
Um,
insane,
oh yeah,
dude.
we had to wear like work pants, like Dickies work pants or something like that, but no jeans. It was really strict, bro.
Wow,
And
yeah.
the prayer services were like real charismatic, right? People praying, singing and praying like this, and praise and worship was real big. So I grew up really strict like that with
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And when I fell away for quite a long time after I went in the military and then after I got out. So, but yeah, anyway,
Mm.
yeah. So I'm
Yeah, it's
close. I'm
interesting,
close
yeah.
with God again now.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I was kind of turned off for a while because I think coming out, going into my teenage years, it was that strict. And so I started kind of rebelling when I was 16 and
Yeah, yeah,
17. So, yeah.
yeah. Makes sense, man. Like you, that part of your life, you really are starting to critique and figure out who you actually are,
Right.
what is true. You know, obviously Santa Claus is a load of crap. The Easter Bunny is a load of crap. What else is a load of crap? You know, you're just trying to figure stuff out. You know,
Yeah.
and rebellious. That's part of the rebellion as well. It's like you're figuring that out for sure, man. And
All right. So
it's
who
cool that you
told
came back.
you
Yeah.
that Santa Claus was not real? Was it
I
your
was never
parents
told he
or
was
your?
real. My
Oh,
parents were
okay.
like, "That's come on, like he's not real. Like my Easter Bunny's a load of crap." They just weren't
Even
interested in
when you were
playing.
little, when you were like a
No,
toddler.
man. No, it's not. It's a load of crap. It's all crap. You can tell your friends that too, or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Um.
crazy. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
My sister told me, my older sister, I have an older sister and younger sister. My older sister told me when I was like, I don't know, 10. I mean, I believed in Santa Claus like hardcore, bro. Okay. I'm not even kidding. I swear to God, I'm not even kidding. So she tells me one year, it's like 1980. Okay. I was just turning 10
Yeah.
and, I did not believe her. So, we go upstairs. She's like, I'm going to prove it. So this is Christmas Eve of
Yeah.
1980-ish, whatever year it was. And we go upstairs and we go in the back closet behind all this stuff. She shows me all the presents are wrapped with Santa name written on it. And I said, I
Yeah.
mean, it crushed me. I was so sad. I didn't cry, but I was so sad. It was crazy, man. But yeah, I believed hardcore. Okay.
Oh wow. What did that like? Yeah, what does it feel like to just that part of your worldview is just crushed in that moment?
It
Like,
was.
yeah,
And then, you know what? I'm going to tell you what happened. I'm kind of glad she told me on Christmas Eve because that evening, because I was sad that night. But the next day, when all the presents were under there, and we went, when came downstairs, and I still pretended, right, until we got the
yeah,
presents out, and I said, "Well, Nikki told me that Santa's not real. She told me the truth," and my parents were kind of mad at her, but not really. But it all went away. I wasn't sad anymore because I'm still getting all these cool toys. I
yeah,
was like, "Hell
yeah.
yeah, this is awesome."
I never thought about this until just now, but it's quite a selfless thing, you know, for parents to do to go, look, I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna earn this money, I'm gonna get these awesome presents, you know, and I'm gonna attribute that to somebody else
Give
that's
all the
not even
credit.
real. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a quite a selfless thing to do, and it's quite a cool magical thing. So yeah, props to parents doing that. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know, I haven't got kids yet, so I don't know what we're gonna do. I think my wife is probably going to say, yeah, this trick him for a while and see what happens. But I don't know. We haven't had that conversation yet.
Right.
Yeah, that's hilarious. But yeah, so I grew up in a small town. Most of my life was just sort of running around. We're free range to some extent. They let us play after dark, playing Spotlight. It's kind of you have to sneak up on someone and they have to try and find you or something. I love that kind of concept of trying to like have an edge on being sneaky, you know.
So it's like,
On
so
top
it's
of,
dark out and you have like a
yeah,
flashlight
yeah.
or something?
So the rule is that the person with the flashlight stays and faces the opposite way.
Okay.
And if you're creeping up on them and if they hear a noise, then they're allowed to spin around and try and catch you out with the torch.
Oh, I
But if you're
got you. Yeah,
quiet,
yeah.
if you can't make a noise, if you get all the way through to them and you got to touch the back or tag something or
Right.
grab something, you win, right? So the trick is make no noise.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't have to wait for a noise. They can just spin around. You just have to be ready to be behind something. So if you're in the
Okay.
middle of the open, you're like, well, I'm screwed, you know? So you have to time if you're going to do that run, you better be quick and you have to be in cover real fast. So I
Yeah.
love those kinds of games, you know,
Uh-huh.
as a kid growing up. And yeah, we used to ride our bikes everywhere. I used to ride between towns. This one time, it didn't go so well. I was with some family members and we did a trek down to this waterfall. I actually was an idiot and that's no that's old news. But I was looking over the edge of this waterfall. So if this is the waterfall here, I'm standing looking over the edge. Oh, that's quite far. I slipped,
Oh
fell on my
God.
ass, and just in that, if you freeze frame in that moment, I can't grab anything. Everything
No.
around me is just slippery, grimy rock. So I just
Yeah.
slipped, fell down. I suffered a compound fracture to my right leg for my fibia and tibia. So
Whoa.
just leg, just like bang, just
Did
the
it come out of
bone
your
came.
skin? Did it break through the
Oh
skin?
hell yeah, yeah. That's exactly what yeah. So it came right out, dude. So blood
How old were
pooling and
you?
everything. How old was I? I was like I was in high school, so I would have
Oh, so you were a
been,
teenager. Okay. Like
yeah,
older
yeah, yeah.
teenager.
So I was, yeah, I think I was 13, 14 years
Yeah.
old. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, and I had no idea the bone had come out because it was still in the water. All I knew is that my leg was doing that.
Oh,
It's just not straight anymore.
oh
And
my
if you
God.
had ripples of water, it would just sort of, my leg would just move, you know,
Oof.
like a, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
you,
like,
what'd you do? Climb out? You got out of the water.
well, so um, I was at the base of this waterfall. There's a boulder to my right. Thank God I missed that. I would have been
Oh
sober, you
my
know.
God.
So
Yeah,
I
you wouldn't
mostly
be here.
fell in the water. I must have hit something on the way or hit
Okay.
my leg might have hit the boulder, but my body didn't. So anyway, um, the water ahead of me, I could tell was getting deep. So I was like, okay, look, I can see on the other side of this boulder there's some sand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and keep my hand on that boulder and just sort of use that to keep me from going in the water. Because if I go in the water, all I got left is one good leg. Oh yeah, I had a broken wrist as well. So this hand was back here.
Ooh.
So I had a
Okay.
broken wrist and a broken leg. So I had one good arm, one good leg. So if I go in the water in the deep end, I don't think I could stay afloat with like that.
Mm.
It's not going to end well.
Were they
So I kept,
opposites? Like
yeah, yeah.
this
So
arm?
this
Okay.
one
Okay.
was good, and then this leg was good,
Oh, yeah.
but this hand was broken, and so this leg was broken. So it was, yeah, it was anyway. So I managed to get onto the sandbank, pull myself up onto the sandbank, and I was pretty cold, which is probably the main reason why I wanted to move there, is just to be away from the water spray
Yeah.
and into the sun. The sun was going to keep me warm. And I knew it would take a long time for anyone to get to me because even though they could see where I was, it was just cliffs either side of this creek, this river,
Whoa.
for miles. Like I knew it was like that because I've done that bike ride many times. I knew
Right.
it was a pain to get to. So um, it was 2 hours that I was down there and I was bargaining with God. I'm like, look, if you let me live through this, I'll do anything. Like used to having that conversation.
Yeah.
And yeah, these guys turned up. They had taken their quad bike down to one of the points and they must have run upstream to get to me and they got a survival blanket on me pretty good. And then I could hear this helicopter. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Let's do this. Let's go. It was a single squirrel engine rescue helicopter. It's not a very big one. And it dropped this guy down, had a stretcher. He got it set up, put me on the stretcher. And it flew in real close, dude. I'm talking like less than a meter from the cliff's edge. I was like, this is impressive. I mean, I'm
Whoa.
lying there in agony, but I'm like, this is crazy. I can't believe this guy flew it in to this like hole in the earth. It's insane.
Those pilots are
Um,
amazing. Yeah.
dude, yes, 100%. I don't know who the guy is, but head off to him.
Shout out
And
to this guy for
yeah,
real.
shout out to this guy. Yeah, for real. Yeah, so they clipped me on, winched me half in, half out of this helicopter, and then they landed me on the road and they put me in the ambulance and they had this discussion about whether to fly me to hospital, is it urgent to just drive him there. And by this point, they'd given me heaps of like NOS and I was a bit more relaxed. And I know my dad, I could never forget his face. He had this, because they were there at this point. They could actually see me bleed out for a solid hour after this, and that must have sucked because they could see me but they couldn't get to me.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so he came and I could see his face from through the door of the ambulance. He was just like, freaking out, and
Of
I'm just like,
course.
yeah, it's fine. I got NOS. I'm happy, man. I'm good. This is fine. I'm okay. I'm fine. Um, and just trying to crack jokes, trying to lighten the mood a little bit. But yeah, I was in hospital for 3 weeks. Lots of morphine. Coming off morphine sucked. I hated that
Oh my
so
God.
much.
That's crazy.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Trying to learn to walk again was insane. Because yeah, but I used to piss off the nurses like to no end because I'd have this moon boot on my. Oh yeah, I did actually break a small toe on this leg. I forgot about that. Yeah, so I had a moon boot in this leg, and I had one good arm. So I just wanted to get around and be mobile. So I had a wheelchair and I had a moon boot. So what I do is I had my one good hand and one good leg, and I used to leave scuff marks, like road markers all over the place. And I'd scream around the ward because I was bored out of my mind. Like
Right.
yeah. Um, but yeah, that was an interesting time.
So the
And
bottom of your boot is scraping along the
oh yeah,
floor as you're zooming
yeah,
along. Okay.
oh yeah. I was
That's
a
awesome.
pain in the ass. Yeah, but I made friends with the nurses. They were cool. I was there for a while. But yeah, the worst pain though was having your leg elevated and then putting it down on the side of the bed. It just felt like
Mm,
a water blaster going off inside your leg. It's just the
yeah.
worst
All
feeling,
that
man. I was like,
pressure.
oh, like, yeah, it's just like, what the hell? Like, yeah, that was insane. Um, but yeah, so that was when I was like early teens. Um, uh, yeah, carried on, and what happened was my sister got married, and I went up to Auckland to go visit family. I ended up just living up here. I don't know how that happened. I just kind of just lived up here.
Yeah.
And then my cousin who I was living with was just studying to be a teacher. Like, you want to do it? Yeah, I'll do it. I kind of just went with the flow. I kind of put aside the idea of being in the military. Um, and I don't regret it. Like I still think that would have been a great career path as well. But
Sure.
I think, yeah, it's just I'm happy. Like working with kids is it's something else. Like it's
Well, did you play
uh
sports like during around the time you broke your
yeah,
leg?
yeah.
Like did it
Uh
stop you from doing some of the activities that you were doing in school?
no, I still played soccer. Played soccer in high school. I wasn't very good. I'll be honest. I was
Yeah.
fast. I was really quick. I was a good runner. Like
Yeah.
I even did athletics and stuff one time into school athletics, shot put, running. I sucked at the running across. Yeah, but I was quick. I was still a quick guy. I have a titanium rod and screws. I got a massive scar the back of my leg. They have 20 stitches and stuff. But yeah, I still played sports.
Okay.
I don't really follow sports though. I never watch sports at
Yeah.
all. Like people ask me, "Are you gonna watch the?" Because rugby is real big over here, man. Like it's
Okay.
crazy big.
I was just gonna ask
Um,
you what's big over there, rugby or
yeah,
soccer?
rugby's
Yeah.
huge. Soccer's like, not really. It's not like the UK because UK
Okay.
is stuff. They're like real big on soccer. Over
Yeah.
here, it's rugby, probably cricket. I mean, yeah, rugby, cricket,
Okay.
probably the
Well, I
big,
want to
big,
take a
big, big
second
ones.
and say, number one, in the past, I would I was like last year, I was making fun of soccer, okay, because the sport came up, right? We were talking, I was talking with somebody, and there were a lot. I had a lot of people, a lot of guests on here from the UK, and I would always make jokes about nobody watches soccer. What are you talking about? I mean, now my perspective is from America and
Yeah, yeah,
American
yeah.
football. Okay, so I'm a football guy, American football guy. So I played football. My boys played football. We watch football, and so it was, and so I would always make fun of it. Now this past year, one of my grandsons got into soccer, and he's on a traveling team. He's 12 years old. He's really good. He's on a traveling
Nice.
team. Okay, and he's actually my middle son's stepson. So he married the girl he married had her son and a daughter, and so but he's really good. So he's on his traveling team. I start going to his games. Me and my wife start going to the games. Right, he invites us, and so I start learning. I didn't know any rules in soccer. I just knew you couldn't touch it with your hands. Okay,
Yeah.
so I didn't know offside. So I'm learning all this stuff when I'm going. I'm like, why are they throwing a? What are they doing? Like where I don't understand what happened, and I mean, really ignorant. Okay, so I really got into it, and I gotta say, and
Nice.
then now, like the World Cup stuff is coming up. I guess there's a bunch of I've seen ads for it where I guess there's tournaments now or whatever they call it. So I want to say everyone that heard me in the past talk negative about soccer. I apologize because I'm actually really into it now, to be honest. It is fun to watch, and I never actually sat and watched a game until my grandson started playing, and now I'm
Right.
like, okay, I'm actually kind of into it. So, anyway, yeah. So anyway, continue. I just wanted to say that
Yeah,
about
yeah,
soccer because
yeah.
I feel like I said so many, not that I care, but that I said negative things about it. I didn't know.
Yeah,
And I can
yeah,
see
yeah.
now why so many people are into it overseas.
Well, it's a lot more fast paced. There's less
Yeah.
stopping and starting. You just keep going. And I had off to guys who play soccer. I mean, it's a lot more intense as far as like endurance and
Mm-hmm.
just keeping their energy levels up. You're constantly moving. There's no stop
90
start.
minutes,
You just
bro. 90
it's
minutes
it's
of running around.
all, man. It's a lot, dude, for sure.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah. So sports in high school was basically that, and I didn't really get too into much else. Yeah, for sure. And then after that, I didn't play any sport. I don't like not really until I got into jiu-jitsu in 2018, 19. Yeah, 2019.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't been playing since I haven't been rolling since COVID, actually. I just haven't gotten back into it. I just haven't I just got busy. I'd like to. I've still got my gear and everything. I'd like to get back into that for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of just focus more on trying to get into airsoft and get the gear and stuff for it.
Yeah.
Because
How'd you get into
for a
that?
while, yeah. So yeah, I've wanted to give it a go for a while, but no one I knew played the game, and no one. So if anything happened, I just have to just be that guy to get into it by myself and just turn up one day and just go. Now part of me was like, this stuff's not cheap. Like for me, like I don't. It's a lot of expensive gear, and I thought, well, what I'll do instead of playing like 10 games as a rental this year, I'll save up that money that would have spent on rental in the game. I'll just buy the gear. So for a while,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't play. I just researched, I looked into what was the good stuff to get, and I just wanted to get one good plate carrier instead of buying like a whole bunch of the crappy ones from AliExpress or something. Like I wanted to get a
Right.
good one. And then there's this guy, ex-military, ex-security, did work in Afghanistan or whatever. Yeah, he had a thing on Marketplace. He was selling his plate as like a LBX, plate carrier. And I knew that was a good brand. That thing lasts for a while. So I thought, I'll get that. And then I bought this guy on Trade Me, sold his G&G TR16 308 sort of DMR sort of looking setup
Yep.
for real cheap. Like for 600 New Zealand dollars, I had like the scope, I had a bipod, I had a rifle, I had a sidearm, I had some rounds, I had some gas, face mask, all this sort of stuff, and it was just cheap. So I thought, cool, I'll grab that, I'll get my plate carrier, and then I slowly acquired more stuff. And I've only played 2 games. I put airsoft on hold for a bit because my wife and I wanted to travel, so we went to Europe last year, so that was
Oh,
great.
okay. Where'd you guys
And
go?
so we went to Dubai first for a few days, and that was amazing. And
Nice.
then we did went to Paris. From Paris, we went to Switzerland. Switzerland, we went to Italy. And we spent the majority of our time in Italy. That was awesome. And then
Yeah.
we went back to Dubai for a quick stopover and back home. But that was about shy of a month, just on the go. So yeah, I figured, we'll hold off on gear, we'll hold off on some games and just focus on the trip because we're
Yeah.
still young. We haven't got kids yet. We figured we'd do that before we had kids. So
No,
yeah,
I
that
love
was
that,
that was
man. Most people
yeah.
I talk with overseas, that's such a big, I guess, real common thing for a lot of people that live like the UK or maybe where you guys are at. It's more common than in America, where you guys go and travel to different countries, and so you're getting a lot of experience with cultures, and you're seeing all these different. And I feel like that's really good for people to do that, experience that because it gets you out of this like tunnel vision of your uh, where you grow up, your little town, your little, it's kind of like just so like an echo chamber kind of thing, I guess. But you
For sure,
guys,
yeah.
there's a lot of people that travel to different countries, and a lot of people in America, when they raise their kids and stuff, we don't really do that. Like we'll go to the beach, right? We'll go like we'll vacation in our state or maybe one or two states over, but we don't go to a whole other countries and see different belief systems, different all the different things that are involved in a different culture.
Mm,
So we're kind of narrow-minded that way. A lot of American kids grow up, when they're young adults, they're kind of narrow-minded,
right, right.
Yeah. So that's good. You guys
Interesting,
do
man.
that kind of thing. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, my family didn't. I mean, I come from a very like low social economic sort of background. My mom was a teacher aide. My dad was on a sickness benefit. Like it wasn't. We made it happen, but we did not, travel much for sure. Like
That's how I grew up. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we can relate in that respect.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my background. But I think I traveled. My first time I traveled overseas was for my sister's wedding. She got married to a guy in India, and that was awesome, man. We were there for like 2 months, like just traveling around. Not the whole time we are traveling. Some of the time I was just living with their family and just getting to
Yeah.
know them and stuff. It was cool.
That's awesome.
Um,
What?
but dude, it's so beautiful over there, dude. Like the crazy architecture and this
I was
the
going to ask
level
you,
of
when you went to
detail.
Dubai, is it just like I see these videos on Instagram and stuff of, like a drone flying through Dubai and like all the different buildings and how cool it looks. Is it like that?
Stunning, dude. Yeah, I
Really?
love Dubai. Dubai is insane. Like they just have the craziest economy to just pull off some insane stuff. Like that's just how it is. I mean, I think from my understanding is that they got a whole bunch of money in, post World War II with all the oil and stuff, because everyone, where are you going to get it from? It's
Yeah.
that part of the world. And then after that, that was really smart with where they invested their money in real estate and enterprises and all this sort of stuff. So they're just, they're way ahead of a lot of people as far as like, innovative and money and stuff. That's just insane.
Right.
So yeah, they got some crazy stuff over there, dude. Like, yeah, they got this man-made flying drone things that I haven't seen one, but I know they're there.
Yeah.
A lot of people rolling around some crazy cool cars and stuff over there for sure. Like
Uh-huh.
it's crazy, yeah. But no, that was cool. We went to the top of the Burj Khalifa, like the very, very top. It's insane how high that thing is, dude. It's
What
crazy.
what is it
Yeah.
called now?
The Burj Khalifa. It's
Yeah.
the highest. I'm sure that's got to be the highest tower in the world. Like, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it's crazy.
Really? That's in India?
Is it? No, that's in Dubai.
Or Dubai, sorry. Yeah, yeah.
Dubai is completely different. Yeah. So tallest tower in the
Yeah,
world.
I'm looking it up too. Tall tower
What do we got?
in Dubai.
What is it?
Burj
Yeah,
Khalifa.
Burj Khalifa number one. Yeah. So
Really?
yeah,
Yeah, let's
dude.
see how high this thing is. Does it say on there?
Uh, 828 meters. It's almost a whole. Like it's not quite a kilometer, but that's pretty damn close. Like it's a
Bro,
lot, dude.
what?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to share the screen. So people that are watching this, I'm going to share the screen real quick and show you guys because this is crazy, dude. I didn't see. This is why I love talking with people and because I learn a lot. These are a lot of things I'm ignorant about. With something like I never even knew about this thing. But look at this
Yeah.
picture. Look
It's
at the other
huge, dude.
buildings close, like next to it. I
Yeah.
mean, dude, what?
It's colossal, man.
So
Like,
you can go all the way to the top. Does it have like what's the elevator go all the way up
okay.
there?
Yeah. So it's crazy how, like, because the building, when you're at the top, so like, I didn't hang on to the spire or anything, but the tallest, like, building part that you're allowed to go to, I went to that. And the building is so little, like, and like, you can't quite touch either side, but you could, like, take a few steps and you're touching the other side of the building because it's just
It looks really
so high
narrow up
up.
there. Yeah.
It is damn narrow up there, dude. And it's kind of, yeah, it's insane. Like the visibility in Dubai isn't the best though. Like in New Zealand, you can see for miles and miles and miles. I think it's just, I'm not sure what it is, whether it's pollution or whether it's like just the different part of the atmosphere over there. I don't know, but you just don't have the same kind of visibility. So you can
Gotcha.
see, but you can't see that far.
Uh-huh.
I think it depends on the day or whatever, but
Right.
yeah, it's insane though. Looking down, you're like, holy crap, that is a long way down. I
I'm
could
sure
easily
stuff
parachute off this
start,
thing.
but when you're up there, things when you're looking down on the ground are probably starting to get fuzzy, like for real.
It does do that, yeah, for
You're
sure. Like
so high up.
it's
So
yeah.
for anyone in America that is listening, they don't know, they don't understand meters, okay? It's 2,722 feet. That is crazy. Okay. Wow. That's pretty wild.
Um, Yeah,
Wow.
so that was so travel for me was pretty cool, and we still want to do some more. I think the next one we're hoping to go to is South Africa. Would love to do a safari of sorts. Go to
Oh, that'd be
go to
awesome.
South Africa. Go north to Botswana.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty epic,
Hey,
man, for
don't end
sure.
up on
Yeah,
one of those videos, okay? The dumb guy videos that gets out of the safari truck or whatever, tries to talk to a lion, okay?
yeah. I'm an idiot, but I'm not that dumb. Yeah, yeah.
Don't
Hey,
do it,
Ryan. Hey,
man.
buddy. Hey, buddy.
We need you. We need you, okay?
Yeah. um, but yeah, through my first after uni, I started teaching, and while I was teaching, I was actually in a band. I was a metal vocalist for many years. Actually, it's quite a funny. Um, uh, Putting those two side by side looks really weird. By day I'm teaching kids, singing like
So you got
cheesy songs,
your
but then
glass, you got your spectacles on, you're
yeah,
holding a notebook. All right, children, here we go, learn this. And then at night you're rocking out like you know.
yeah, man. Like we're talking like so the bands we've done shows with, for example, I don't know if your listeners listen to this sort of stuff, but like North Lane, we play with a local band called Saving Grace. They're still real big over and like because they're with Face Down Records, I think. Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, we've done a lot of, oh no, not Face Down, got confused. I think they are now anyway. But yeah, we did a lot of touring. We got a whole album out and everything. We did a lot of work on that. You'll
I'm about
find
to
it on
look it up.
YouTube if anyone. Yeah, yeah.
What is it?
Just I think
Or do you have
it's
a
hard to find the band. You have to type in the band and the name of one of our songs. Try Breathing Still Lament. I might, yeah, you probably find it.
breathing still?
Yeah, and then type in the word lament. That's the song. It's probably the easiest one to find.
Oh shit. Is that
So
the
we
name of your
filmed
band? Is
this.
breathing still? I mean lament?
Yeah, yeah. No, the lament was the name of the song.
Okay.
Britain Still's a band. Yeah.
Really? Oh dude, I gotta share this. Hold on. This
Here
is
we
it.
go.
This is it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Bro, this is awesome. You sing and you're a music or and you're a teacher. This is cool.
I wouldn't call this singing, but yeah. I hate seeing myself in this thing.
Is that you right there?
Yeah, man.
Bro! This is awesome. I mean, that is cool. Okay, so you
Yeah,
gotta listen, you've got to need to find let me see where he's at. So I had a guy that one of the guests I had on, the outro that I put on these.
I heard that. It
Did
was like
you?
a middle. Yeah, I was like, what? Like, what? I don't know which episode it was. I think it was on either YouTube one or one on Spotify. And I remember hearing this. I'm like, I'm so confused. Like, what is this doing here? Like,
So
yeah,
this that is my outro. And if you're watching it on the video, I actually have the lyrics and stuff set up on there from the guy who sent it to me. So when I had this guy on, his his last name's Newsom, okay,
yeah, yeah,
and so his YouTube or Instagram name is I knew some, right? I knew some.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he would always say like, or he would always say like, I knew some, but I didn't know it all, right? So his last name's Newsom. But so before I had him on, when I invited him on, just like I did you, he sings like this as well, and he wrote a song and made it and sang it on the podcast. So it was awesome, dude. And it's
Okay.
about Trifecta Airsoft and me and the podcast and our channel. And it's really short, but let me pull it up here real quick and I'll read the lyrics
Yeah, yeah.
because so he says Trifecta Airsoft Podcast, bringing you a blast from the past, present, and the future. He unites all airsoft shooters. E-Rock rocks the earth with his most generous words. Came to you from unboxing. We share the love we all have for airsofting. And I was like, he
Yep.
sang that to me. I was like, bro, you sang me a song. Like you made a song for me. This is awesome. Okay, so anyway, I'll send you his link. You guys will have to
Yeah,
talk.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure,
You'll
man.
like
That's
this
awesome.
dude. Yeah, he's very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's awesome. How'd
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
into the singing, all this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I was big on like I kind of I think the way I explain how I got into heavier and then heavier and heavier music is kind of like um desensitizing yourself with like chili and food. You kind of just want something a bit hotter and just something a bit hotter.
Sure.
So with me, it was like I need something heavier, man. I need something a bit more meatier and grittier. And then so I started listening to in high school it was Rage Against the Machine, Breaking Benjamin, Linkin Park. It was all pretty mild stuff, you know,
Yeah.
just rock and whatever. But then started listening to Under Oath, and then it was Demon Hunter, then it was like Haste the Day, and then like yeah, it just sort of got heavier and heavier. And then I met up with a buddy of mine at church, and I realized he was working on some stuff. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I've been making really failed horrible attempts at screaming in my bathroom, but do you want me to give it a go, you know? And we started demoing some stuff, and I didn't sound that bad. He's like, yeah, we could do something with this. And then we managed to find guys from different parts of the country, and our drummer was like 3 hours drive away, but he just drove up for every band practice anyway. And we used to just come up with some stuff, and we started putting out we started playing shows. Our first show we ever played was with a band from the States called A Plea for Purging. And it's not normal that a band starts off with a, you know, by playing a headlining show. Like it's kind of weird. I think
Right.
we just somehow got lucky with that. So our first show we had like 200 people in the venue. And we were super stoked with that. And we had a really good first impression, and then we just kept up the momentum. I mean, well, for initially, I mean, we went dark for like a couple of years at one point because we just really wanted to get the album right.
Mm.
We just kept refining. We culled like a lot of material. We refined it, and ultimately, at the time we're quite proud of it, and I still am. I mean, the other guys have moved on. Some of them are in other bands or whatever, but yeah, that was the only album I got to my name, and I'm happy that I've been a part of it. And I've been
Right.
writing lyrics as well. Was cool. Like it was a creative outlet for me, and each song had a different sort of. Some of them kind of told their own story. Um, there's a song called Warbringer. That was kind of like it was just a brutal song.
Mm.
It was just about like the concept of being under siege and having to just fight your way out and just use all elements of fury to do so. And I was really inspired by lyrically a band called Oh Sleeper at the time. There's a guy called Micah Kennard. He actually did a Zoom with us. Or before Zoom existed, it was Skype. So he Skyped us a while back.
Yeah.
And we helped us sort of just talk through like how we're going to write this album. And inspired by him, I wrote some stuff for that song. And then yeah, each song has its own little mini narrative for sure. Yeah, it was quite cool. And every now and then I give it a spin, and I can just remember being on stage. I miss it. Like it's something different about just sort of belting out ruthless screams and just rocking everyone up in the pit just to start moving.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's badass. It's yeah, it was a good era, man. Just driving around when you're still young, you know, driving between cities, all night driving and just going touring and hanging out with friends and buddies. It was a great era, man. And I don't regret it at all. I mean, I didn't save much money, I'll admit. A lot of money went into that. A lot of money went into gear or travel or whatever. But made some amazing memories for sure. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that's important, man. Like, who cares about how much money you save? Frick it, bro. That
Yeah.
was like,
Oh,
you
my
know, the
wife
experience.
does.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you know, A lot of women would care, but no, man. When you're out, like you got to live moment to moment because that's the way you create really good memories and really cool
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
stories. By the way,
Yeah, yeah,
because the guy that's sitting in the back, like, no, I don't. I'm not going out. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Yeah, but he saved all his money. Yeah, that's fine, whatever. But yeah, because you don't know. Like we don't. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow or next week or next month. So,
no, no,
I mean, when
that's
you're
it.
young like
Yeah,
that and you don't have kids, like you're just going out. Yeah, that's a great. I mean, it's like the dream. When I was growing up in the
yeah,
'80s, 70s and '80s, it was like everybody wanted to be a rock star. Okay, they had the big hair bands like Motley
yeah,
Crue and shit like that. So it was, a lot of the guys wanted to do that kind of stuff. I wanted to be a drummer. You know, but
yeah.
yeah. So
That's cool, man.
hell yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably start talking about my first game of Airsoft. Actually, we've got an hour and we haven't actually talked about that yet. Well, yeah. So it's funny actually. I turned up to this game. I had bought some. I had by that point I had an LBX plate carrier. I had block tactical eyewear. I had my mechanics gloves on. I had um my Under Armour boots, and I had some pretty okay gear to start.
Yeah,
And then we were just really perplexed. So like, hang on, wait. This is your first game ever? I'm like,
you
yeah.
looked
I'm like,
tactical. Hell yeah.
yeah. I had some mismatched New Zealand DPMs and a few things that just did not look right as well. Like I wasn't looking that flash, but I definitely had some things in there that were like, hang on, no one spends that much on that gear. Like, what are you doing? So anyway, yeah. So it was an interesting game. So the scenario was that you're either a Marine or you're a insurgent. Um, so I was on the Marine side, and the scenario was that the one of our helicopters had been shot down, and they put this dummy pilot in there. He had to recover the body of the pilot. And then the secondary objective was, oh, sorry, that was the secondary objective. Primary objective was to rescue the live pilot that was in the village to the west of the helicopter's position that the insurgents had captured and held in there. So our starting point was south of the helicopter, so we had to. They had some guys already waiting for us, so we had to push through that, reach this gun placement, and then push west from the gun placement.
Yeah.
And I knew none of that plan when I first joined this game. I knew in retrospect, I turned up. I didn't know the map. I didn't know where things were. I was
Yeah.
confused. In this particular game, they didn't split us up into squads. They didn't have designated leaders. It was kind of just this: you guys are all Marines. You guys are all insurgents. You guys figure it out. Good luck. Just
Right.
game start. Um, so you'd have guys that would pop over every now and then. You kind of could tell they know what they're doing. They kind of lead a situation, but
Yeah.
there was never like a designated. Okay, I'm a squad leader. You're in my squad. I'm going to know your names. You're going to know my name, and we're going to work together. That didn't happen. It was a bit chaotic,
Yeah.
because in my brain, I've played video games. I've wanted to be in the military, and in my brain, like with cadets and stuff as well, you have a certain structure, right? There was none of
Sure.
that. It's just crazy. Um, so it's
That's funny.
literally just if they're shooting at you, shoot back. If one of you guys is reloading, cover him. Um, just yeah, a couple of movements I did on my watching, because I took video of it. I'm still putting together this video for YouTube.
Okay.
I'm trying to finish. I was hoping to have it finished before today, so then I could be like, hey, I've got it. It's there. You have a look at it, but
Yeah.
it's not ready yet, so I'll have to try
That's all
and
right.
finish that. But yeah, I managed to get a few good hits in there, and learning to communicate. I think the first thing I needed to learn was, if you're going to communicate, you need to have something to say. So if you're like, they're shooting at us, it's great, but where are they exactly? Like, okay, so we've got a
They're in the
guy
trees, and there's
through the
trees
trees.
everywhere.
It's like, nice one, genius. Try again. Like, yeah, yeah. So I think, yeah, I think I learned from that day, just be clear, description of what they look like, where they are, and how far away they are, like just give them some idea of that. Um, but no, it was a lot of fun. I loved it. I loved just getting amongst it, crawling around, just trying to think about how to stay low, move fast, and work with the people that were around me at the time, because that whoever's there, I'm going to work with,
Yeah.
and just communicated with them. Hey, what's your name? I'm Frosty. Cool, nice to meet you, Frosty. How are we going to do this? Okay, cool. What are we going to do? It's trying to just throw things, because I'm new. I'm trying to see what these guys must know what they're doing, and sometimes they didn't. They're like, I don't know. We're just going to go that way, I guess. It was a bit crazy.
You're like, oh yeah, these guys are experienced, man. They know what they're doing. They've been playing airsoft for like 5 years or whatever, and then you get out there, they're all like, what? Where do we go? We're just here for the camaraderie, man. Come on.
Yeah. We're just here to take photos and dress up. No, I don't know. No, it was cool. And the second game was interesting, actually. I think I must have walked into something, because the guy who owned this particular setup, this is at West Coast Airsoft Rangers, the guy who owns it or whatever, he had noticed that in the airsoft community we needed to bring some expectations a bit higher. So it's funny, actually. I was the first 30 minutes was him going through a list of the things that he did not like about the culture of airsoft at this present time, and he just roasted the airsoft community for the things that aren't working very well. For example, like he'd say, look, if you're turning up to an airsoft game and you're not prepared to like work as a team, what are you doing? Like, if you're not going to communicate, if you're going to do your own thing when you turn up here, this is a sport. Like, come on, like you got to learn to communicate. And he talked about other things, like, for example, if you are in a squad and every single one of you guys in the squad all want to be a sniper, not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Aw, we can't have no fun.
Yeah. So he's like, look, just if you don't need a sniper, be ready to just go, all right, I'm not going to snipe. I can rent this, or I can do that, and I can take my scope off this. That's fine. I can adapt, or whatever. And I think that day was really good, because what he did was he got every single one he created squads. He got us to have, each time we finished a quick round, the leader would swap over. So everyone got a turn being the leader of that squad.
Oh, okay.
And it was all about learning how to communicate, learning how to lead, learning how to come up with a plan. And that was awesome. It was really good. And he'd constantly be calling out, like a coach does at practice. Hey, I like what you're doing there. Keep doing that. Or like, hey, bring your arms in, just chicken necking, you bring them in, like do that. Yeah. Or like, keep moving. Because he always talked about, you got to keep the momentum going, because if you stay still for too long, they can come up with a plan and they can execute that plan and take you the hell out. So you need to be able to think quick, move quick, but don't go too quick, because you're not going to be thinking. You got to stay in, you got to move as fast as you can think, and no more, no less, and just keep going and work together. So that was really good. I thought that was awesome.
That is cool.
More of that for sure.
I'll have to definitely look up that field, because he's running it. He's being, like you said, he's being a coach and teaching people too. That's cool.
Yeah. And I came up to him. I was like, hey, look, I really appreciate what you did today, because my first airsoft experience was fun, but it was also chaotic, and it didn't have the elements that I was hoping for, of like working together as a team. There were elements of it, but
sure,
it's nowhere near as like, we're going to focus on that, like he did that day. And that was really cool. So those are my two airsoft experiences. There is a game tomorrow, but I haven't got all the gear I need for that, because that one is a rehash of Black Hawk Down, which I'm gutted to miss out on, obviously, because I love that movie.
Right.
But I had to have bought the correct, because if you're going to be on the Rangers or the Delta, you have to have the right camo. I'll do it next year. They do it every year. It's fine. I'll do it next time.
Yeah.
And I wasn't interested in being in the Somali team, just because I've only just bought myself a comm setup, and I want to try that out. So I'll wait to the next game after that. I'm looking forward to trying that out, because that's a whole different level of communicating and tactical sort of stuff, because you can actually have two separate squads working together, as opposed to just trying to figure out what they're doing, just guessing what they might do. You can actually coordinate. Yep. And I'd like to be part of that process, a part of that communication, and that leadership as well, for sure. I want to get better. And yeah, I'd like to create content. Like I did I've got a GoPro. I'm actually using the GoPro now as a webcam. I've never used it as a webcam before.
Yeah.
I'm just trying it out. But yeah, I've only got the one camera. Eventually I'd like to get like a run cam, the usual staple,
Oh yeah.
scope cam that most guys have these days. So
Yeah.
would love to get one
Speaking
of
of
those.
that, how did your gun
Yeah.
work the first time you went out? Did it work good?
It was all right. Like it's
Okay.
uh
Like, was it shooting
once
straight? Was it feeding the BBs right and all that?
it worked, man. Yeah, I was really impressed with it. I had no issues with it. I think that the I want to switch up the BBs to be a little bit heavier. Once
Mm.
the wind carries that thing, they're all over the place.
Pew, pew.
Yeah, it's a long barreled gun. It
Right.
looks like I haven't got it out or anything. I'd have to unbox it, but it's all on my Insta and stuff anyway. But yeah, it looks like it could shoot quite far, but it really doesn't. It's not that powerful. I wonder if there's something it can. I think it comes with a MOSFET and everything in it anyway, because it's a G2A or something inside. So
Yeah.
it's a G and GTR16. I think it's got a pretty good initial baseline. You don't have to do too much to it anyway. Yeah, I'd like to, if I could anyway, get a bit more range out of it with heavier BBs, because that way you could actually use it like a designated marksman rifle.
Uh-huh.
Because at the moment it just looks like one, but it really does not function like one for sure.
Right.
Yeah, the wind when it hits that 2.5 mil BB, it could go anywhere.
Is that what you were running, .25s or?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all I had. It just came with the gun that I bought,
That's not
and that was the
terrible,
first.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that was the first time I ever fired that thing, because I don't have a backyard. I live in like my wife and I own this townhouse in the city.
Oh, okay.
It's housing over here and anywhere I guess it's quite expensive.
Bro,
So it's
just
all we can
go shoot it off your balcony right there.
get.
Nobody will know.
Yeah, if I want to, yeah, sneaky. Yeah, if anyone sees me, that's a 10 grand fine and goodbye Airsoft for the rest of my life. So I don't know if it's worth the risk.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they have, like, when you went there, what did it chrono at? When you went through chrono?
200 and there's a different, they give you a little different color zip tie.
Zip tie, yeah.
Yeah, the different
For
one.
for your MED.
I
Yeah.
was under, what would it be? It was under
100
280.
feet
So I think it was,
or
yeah, so it's
50 feet.
275. I don't think we do feet though. I don't know what it would have been if it was in feet.
Do they do joules? Do they measure in joules, or
Um,
no? Was it meters per second or something?
I think it's meters per second. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. So it's 275 or whatever that
Okay.
was. Yeah, yeah. I think
Gotcha.
that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't that powerful for sure.
Right.
It was like the
That's
lowest possible like zip tie. So
uh-huh.
it was yeah. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the rules were that even with that, you still can't shoot a person within 10 meters.
Yep.
With that, you have to either go bang or use your sidearm. And even sidearm, I think you had to be at least a certain distance away. I think it might be like 2 or 3 meters or something.
What did yeah, did you have a sidearm, or what did you take?
I started off with one, but I didn't have a holster for it. I
Oh,
borrowed a
okay.
holster that they had. It was one of those material ones. It was horrible. The thing fell out. I lost my gun in like the first like
Oh
I lost it
shit.
in the first 5 minutes, man. I was like, where the hell is it? I
Oh
had to run
God.
back. The video I'm going to put out, you'll just see this guy like, hey, you lost your pistol. Like, yeah, thanks, man. Um,
Nice.
yeah, but I bought a really good ammo max. What do you ammo max or something? It's one of those ones that you push the button and it's a quick release.
Oh yeah, right, right.
Yeah, that's so good. Doesn't go anywhere until you want it to, basically. So I've
Yes.
got one of those now.
Both my sons
Um,
had that for their pistols, yeah.
yeah, it's good, and I'm finally happy with my setup because I've the simple things like having a dump pouch. Like I practiced this literally for the first time yesterday, being able to do a change and go boom, pouch, another one, and ready.
Oh,
But
nice.
to index it into the slot, especially for my 308 mags, is ridiculously a pain in the ass. Like I've learnt that if I were to put that bungee strap on top to secure it, I can't get that mag out because it's just so damn tight. Like it was
Yep.
a pain trying to get any like pouches that fit 308.
Right.
I finally found some and they fit, but they really are tight, man. They're like
Yep.
they're just really hard to get out for
Yep.
sure.
You got
So
to have some
I don't.
strong finger like grip to get
Well,
those out.
I actually have to rest because my rifle had a bipod. I have to rest my rifle down on its bipod so that the barrel doesn't touch the ground, but it's just resting on the bipod to get my hand underneath, grabbing
Oh,
the plate carrier to pull the damn thing out because it was just so damn stuck. So
right.
I learned don't put the bungee cord on top, just leave it sitting in there. It's not going to go anywhere. And I realized just doing a few quick drills yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday? Yeah, day before yesterday, just seeing how fast I could change. It was insanely different. And just having a dump pouch just to quickly pull it into, grab a
Yeah.
new one, slide it in. It was so much faster. Like my first game, I had these cargo pants. I just had them rattling around in my cargo pants, just like, trying to get that thing out when you're like getting shot at, you're undercover, you're just like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
it was
If you
crazy.
have to jog just like 10 feet, you sound like somebody with maracas. You're like,
Yeah, yeah. I think he's coming, guys. Yeah.
you're not sneaking up on anyone, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Hell no, man. Hell no. Mind you, dump pouches are kind of the same in some respect as well, because those things will clunk around in the back, but you can actually secure it and tie it so it stops moving too much. But
Yeah.
it still helps with the reloading, and you can find a nice quiet spot when you got a breather to quickly refresh them, put them back in index, and then carry on. So yeah, I'm a bit happier with my setup now. I think a part of the reason why I wanted to wait to get some of the gear is because I knew that was kind of the habits I wanted to form. That's kind of how I wanted to
Mm.
play. I knew that it can get quite frustrating if you're just sitting there with a rental winding that thing up and just that's all you've got, a little winding it. That's not what I
Yeah.
want to learn. I want to learn how to be quick in my reloads. I want to figure out what works best for me. Yeah, so
Dude,
there's a few
okay,
things I want to.
so
Yeah.
if you want to work on some of that stuff, you need to go. I had this guy on. He is he lives in Japan. His YouTube channel is called Mayday
Death
San.
Okay. I haven't heard this guy before.
Maydaysan. Okay. Mayday
Mayday
San.
San.
And go look at his reloads. So during COVID, when everything was locked down, all he has a shit ton of airsoft guns. Okay. And when I had him on the
Can't
podcast,
see.
he actually went through, he showed off every single gun. And he sent me a picture afterwards of all the guns laying around him on the floor because we were sitting down and he would just take it, show it, and then set it down and grab the next one. So they were surrounded all on, around him on the floor. And I used that picture that he sent me as the thumbnail. So
Oh wow.
I found his channel and his Instagram and his YouTube. He has like short videos on Instagram and stuff where he does amazingly fast reloads with all
Wow.
different types of guns, from the M4s to the SMGs to the everything. Okay, even the shotgun stuff. So the dude just practiced every day because he was bored, and he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Oh,
it
I'm
makes
gonna
sense, man. I'll probably
dude."
do the same thing.
It was
Yeah.
awesome. I was like, "How fast are you?" Because I mean, I swear he's the fastest one I've seen so far. I'm not kidding. So if you watch his videos, you definitely learn. He teaches some techniques on it too. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I couldn't quite find him just now, but I'll look him
I'll
up for
send it.
sure.
I'll send it to you. Yeah,
Oh, nice. Thanks, man. Yeah, yeah, I'll do
yeah. I'll
that.
send it to you. Mayday Sun Airsoft. Yeah, yeah. I'll send it to you after.
Amazing. Yeah, there's only one other guy I know that I really listen to. It's Death Row, Stuart Rowe. He's got a pretty cool
Oh,
podcast
Death
as
Row
well.
Podcast. Yeah, Death Row.
Yeah, yeah,
Stu.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Stu. Shout out Death Row Podcast
yeah,
because
yeah. Shout out to him, man.
yeah, dude, for real. I had him on gosh, a while ago. And he started a podcast not long after we talked.
Oh
And
wow. So you okay, that's pretty cool. You had him on and then he started his one.
well,
Okay.
he said,
That's
like he
amazing.
even said on when him and I were talking that he was already starting to think about doing a podcast. And so as
Right,
we're
right.
talking, he was like, he sent me a message, or I can't remember if we talked after that, but he said, you inspired me to actually
That's
start it. He
awesome,
was
man.
already thinking about doing one, but
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And I love his podcast because it's actually like he's had a lot of guests on that I've had on. Like it's because it's very different. The way it's more structured, and
Yeah, I know.
he's
Yeah,
actually played airsoft a lot, and so
for
he's very
sure.
experienced with all the gear and all the stuff. So he has it's almost like it's a fun almost game show kind of thing where he'll do these rapid fire questions, and it's pretty cool. So
Yeah,
I
he's
do.
definitely got a different structure, but I like
Right.
this as well. It's got a different purpose
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
different.
Yeah,
Right. Exactly.
yeah,
So I have recommended people in the past go get on his as well because uh, it's fun. It's a fun and he makes a lot of short videos for the podcast that are really cool. So
yeah, yeah. No, it's cool. A lot of sound bites and stuff he creates, and
we
he's got a cool
talked.
personality. Yeah.
He really is. Him and I talked. He video called me. Oh my gosh, this is probably about 4 months ago, 5 months ago, and Stu, if you listen to this, bro, I appreciate you because we had a really good time talking. He was lit, okay? He was about half drunk. And it was awesome. We had so much fun talking and this wasn't like a podcast. We didn't record it.
Yeah,
We just talking.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And it was so fun. Anyway, so
yeah.
yep. He's
That's
a good dude.
hilarious.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, yeah, he seems like that. Yeah, because I think he's originally from Australia, and
That's
then
right.
he, yeah, because he's still got that Aussie accent. When I first listened to him, I was like, oh, that's cool. An Aussie's doing this, but yeah, obviously he's not in Australia because they don't do BBs. They do like gel blasters and they
Gel
do
blasters.
paint
Yeah.
paintball, but none of those have the same range, and none of them have the
Uh,
same kind of following. Yeah, it's just not the same. Yeah,
yeah, he moved to
it's a shame,
Japan.
man.
Yeah, his girlfriend or yep. So, that's cool, man.
That's cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I like how he explains the culture of airsoft in Japan and how casual it is. Like,
Right.
I think the way he explained it one time was like, think of it like going to karaoke after work. People over there are like, yeah, I want to go do some airsoft. Yeah, let's go do some airsoft. I'm like, that would be awesome if
Right?
everyone was like that. Like,
Yeah,
how
it's
cool would
it's
that be?
so ingrained in the society. Like, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
let's go do it. Yeah,
for sure. I mean that would be cool. Like, but mostly that sounds like it's mostly indoor then, or
yeah.
because outdoor is a whole different kind of level. But
He was
in New
telling a
Zealand,
story too when I
yeah.
was talking to him, and he said him and his buddies went to an indoor field in a shopping mall, and so they got to
Yeah,
walk
I heard
through
that
the
one. I think I
mall.
heard that
Did
one.
you hear that? he's
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah,
I think he said he's like 6'3". He's a big dude. He's tall.
yeah,
He's in
yeah.
shape. Okay, and his buddies are about big like that. So being in Japan, a lot of people are shorter or whatever, and so he walks into this thing, and it's like they're giants, oh, and they're all kitted
Yeah,
up. Okay, they got
yeah.
all their gear on. Like, bro, look
I
out.
think I've heard this one. Yeah, I think I've heard this one for sure. And
That's
I
awesome,
can imagine it. I'm like, that's hilarious. It's like these tanks just
right?
rocking in there, and like, yeah, yeah, it's
Oh,
hilarious.
that's crazy. So, yeah.
If
So,
I'm
what do you
ever in
got?
Japan, I have to try airsoft over there for 100%. Would love
Right.
to. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you got? So, what are your plans for? So, you just got into it. You're excited about it. You got your gear. Obviously, you did your research for what kind of gear you want and that kind of thing. Do you have plans for the rest of the year? Like, have you heard of any bigger events? Do you want to go to like a military simulation? Some of these mil sim type of things.
Yeah, yeah. We do have some big events and stuff. I'm hoping to connect with a few of the guys just through the local um communities first. Like, so I'll probably do another game in a couple of weeks or a week from now, and just keep touching base, making connections. Because I think with these bigger events, you kind of need to turn up with people that you know, and you have like a squad or a team. You kind of it's kind of how it works. You can't just turn up by yourself,
Mm,
which makes sense because if you're doing milsim, there's no there's no guys running around by themselves. You
no.
have to work with a group of people. So
Right.
yeah, ideally I'd like to. We do have the Auckland Airsoft Association. They have run like a milsim event. I think is it called MIA?
Hmm,
I think it's what it's called.
okay.
Um,
Well, I was going to say,
yeah, that's what it's
there's
called.
another
MIA
guy that
series.
I'm going to have on, him and his buddy that are in New Zealand. And I can't remember their Instagram name, but his name is Jono,
Oh
and
yeah, maybe I follow him already. Maybe.
Operation Armored Fury Events.
Yeah, that's the one I want to do. They had
Oh,
that one
okay.
recently. Another YouTuber, someone on Twitter you might have seen is NonoCat as well. I think she just
I
posted
follow
some
her.
videos.
Dude, I
Yeah, yeah.
invited her on twice and we could never figure out like it was a scheduling issue. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, but yeah, she was
Oh,
going to be
okay.
on. This is like a year and a half ago. She was going to be on and we just couldn't figure out the scheduling because of the time difference
Right.
and her work and my work and whatever. So,
Right.
but yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do
yeah.
follow her. I followed her for the last,
No, she's got a really good following, I think,
yeah,
because is she from Japan or something or
I
another
think,
country? Because I know that she's
I don't
based here,
know.
and I've seen her around. Like she works at ASGC in the city,
Okay.
um, or else I've seen her around there anyway.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
yeah, no, yeah, no, she's got a pretty big following. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I'm a Fury. I'd love to do. I think again, I'd like to go on when I've got the gear and I've got some people that I know. So yeah, this year, yeah, I think I'd like to get more into that and do some more of the mill sim sort of stuff because that's obviously what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in just running around having a bit just relaxed fun. I do want to do a bit of that, but I also want to I
You
want
want the more
to
organized kind of setup
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm very interested. Like before I started playing, I'd be watching all these videos from UF Pro Gear YouTube where they have those tutorials about moving tactically, how to clear a room solo, how to clear a room with a group or whatever. And I love that. I
Yeah.
got more interested in that after watching. I think when Terminalist came out, I'm like, man, I just have to get into this stuff because I just was
Great show
completely obs amazing show, dude.
and great books too.
Yeah, dude, I'm 4 books in. I haven't read all of them yet.
Oh,
I've got to
nice.
finish. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I've
was
got them on
3.
Kindle.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
3
Oh,
books.
dude, you're in for a treat. They're really good. I mean, I still think the original Terminal List story is still the most brutal though, because it's just that concept of this guy who's gone through hell and
Yes.
unleashes that hell in the worst of its possible onto the enemy, and it's just brutal. Like it's such a good book, such a good show. There are a few things about the book that I wish they'd stuck to, though. I'm sure that's the reoccurring theme. If any one of your buddies
Sure.
that talk about it, like certain characters, how to whatever, but it's still
Yeah.
the show is amazing. Like I just yeah, the acting, the grittiness, the way they've gotten, especially the first few episodes when like because I at that point I hadn't read the book when I first watched it, and
Oh,
you
okay.
kind of start to wonder, is this guy is he going crazy? Like what's going on? Like
Right.
um, but nah, it's just it's really good, yeah, for sure. And
So I
watching
think I
them,
was
yeah.
about 3/4 of the way through the first book when the show came out.
Oh, right, right,
So yeah, I was
yeah,
kind of, and I was listening to Jack Carr's podcast. So I was learning about him and his guests he was having
mm,
on and all that kind of
yeah.
stuff. And then I was
He's
reading
a
the
cool
book.
dude, man.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yep.
Yeah, I love
Good
his
writer,
podcast as
man. Good
well.
writer.
Yeah, yeah, he really captures the characters really well. Did you read it or did you do audiobook?
No, I read it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I started with audiobook, but then I went to reading it instead.
I'll be
I just
honest.
felt like
I can't do the
yeah,
audiobooks. Um,
right.
I mean, I can sit there and listen to them, but I don't know what it is about it. Like I can listen to a podcast and hear like while I'm doing something and
Yeah,
actually remember, the content, the context, and all that stuff. But the stories, like a novel, I get lost. I
right, right,
daydream. Like I can't keep track, and so when I read it, I'm actually focused on it. Um,
right.
yeah, so I like
I,
reading.
I'm similar, yeah. I listen to podcasts and audiobooks on the way to work. I used
Yeah.
to drive by myself, but now me and my wife carpool now, so it's a bit different. But when I used to
Okay.
drive by myself, yeah, it'd be a section of audiobook or a podcast, and it was sometimes I'd be focusing on the driving for a
Yeah.
bit, which is what you're supposed to do. But anyway, yeah, so I'd do that, and then I was like, oh, I couldn't quite catch what they just said, so hit the button to rewind a few seconds and just listen to it again, and then that kind of sinks in. But I know what you mean. Like that's kind of why I kind of do a bit of both. Audiobook for me was partly because I was busy. I just didn't have
Sure.
time to just sit down. But no, I think it's good to find time just to end of the night, screens
Yeah.
away, just have a read. Um,
Well, you probably know this from being a
yeah,
teacher, like your brain works differently when you're reading the words. Like your imagination is kind of getting in there
yeah,
too. So, and not only that, but I really I enjoy reading just in general. And
right,
I, uh, I like to work on my vocabulary because it's not very good. And so when I'm reading, it forces me to stop and look up a word if I don't know,
right.
right?
That's
And
right.
as you know, because I'm focused, this is what I'm doing. I can't go driving while I'm reading a book. I can't, I have to just lay there and read. And I usually do it at night or whatever, but or read on my phone, but I'm actually reading the thing. So I'll click on the word if I don't know it, and then just do the dictionary thing that's
Yeah,
built in.
yeah,
And so I've read a lot of books like that. When I after high school, I went in the Marine Corps, did not read unless I absolutely had to. Okay. So one of the guys I was stationed with when I came back from overseas was this guy from Idaho, this big, dopey looking dude. Okay. Looked like if you looked at him, he looked dumb. Like he really looked dumb. Like his face, you're like, oh, that dude's dumb as hell. Okay. And he was one of the smartest guys I knew.
wow,
I'm not kidding.
yeah,
So he was just he looked like he would just work on a farm, and that's how he grew up.
right,
Was working on a farm. But so we all had like in our barracks and stuff, we're going out drinking all the time. He's not going out with us. He's like, nah, man, I'm good. And he got this little apartment off a base, and he had a bookshelf. He had no TV. He had a bookshelf that was packed. So I went over to his apartment and I walked in there and he's sitting there reading under this one single lamp, reading Shogun, which is like a freaking Bible thick with when it's
wow.
paper with the paperback. It's like 1,000 pages. He's reading Shogun and sipping on a glass of whiskey. And I'm just like, what the hell? How old are you? You look like an old man sitting. What are you doing? Let's go. He's like, no, I'm going to read this book. And I said, bro, I haven't read anything since high school. What are you talking about? Except our manuals that we had to read in the military. And he reaches over to the bookshelf. He grabs this little thin book. No, it wasn't thin, about medium size. And he throws it at me. I catch it. It was a little paperback. And I look at it. It says The Hobbit by Tolkien. Never heard of it. Didn't know shit
Yeah,
about it. Now, this is 1991. Okay. 92. So I didn't know anything about this. Had no clue what it was. Never heard anyone. None of my friends ever talked about reading. So uh, anyway, he's like, go and just read that. And he tells me, force yourself through till you get to like chapter 2, maybe through chapter 2, because you're going to get a little bored until you start learning the characters and the all the setup. So it's going to, don't put it down until you're like, give it a fair
yeah,
chance. And that's exactly what happened. I was kind of going skimming through. I was like, I had to reread some paragraphs in chapter 1 because I'm just not getting the characters and that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. So I got to chapter 2, and I'm not kidding, bro. I was legit hooked. So I
Nice.
read Hobbit, and then I read the whole Lord of the Rings series. Then I read the Silmarillion, which is like a whole offshoot that Tolkien started writing. I don't know if you know the history of it, but Tolkien started writing it and died while he's writing it. It was like a leftover manuscript that he was
Wow.
partway done with. His son actually finished it. Um, anyway, and then I got on this military book club, and where you before the internet, where you had to actually send in a little form that you'd mail in and check marked, what you want and what, okay. And I got on a monthly book club where I paid a monthly fee and I got one book a month and I would read these books. And I've not stopped
That's
reading
awesome.
since. And that was
Wow,
92,
that's
I
cool,
guess.
man.
Anyway, so I love novels. I love self-help type of thing. I love entrepreneur stuff. I love, I like all that stuff, man. So, yep.
That's awesome. I struggle with reading, dude. Like I'm studying now. I'm doing my Masters of Education Leadership, and
Nice.
it's not easy for me
I'm
because they'll
sure.
give you a whole bunch of readings in a module, and obviously these are novels. I because a novel, your brain's obviously they just engage in a different way. You're creating a scene in your brain. You can picture characters doing stuff.
Yes.
none of that's happening. It's just learning concepts, and my brain's like, oh my God, this is the worst. Um,
It really is
so
hard
like,
to do that. Yeah.
yeah, and like grounded, it is interesting because like I have been a center manager before, which is kind of like running a center, employing staff, um, teaching, leading the teachers essentially. I've stepped back into teaching so I could focus on my study. Like because it was just wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, reading like I do it. I have gotten through Jack Carr's books just because it is that good.
Yeah.
I probably would read more. I probably should read more, but at the moment, it's a university. It's
Oh, I
just
was
getting
gonna
through
say,
those at the moment. Yeah,
no, I,
it's,
I
it's
wouldn't
just
be
taking a lot of
reading
time.
as much as I am with other books like that if I was required to read it for schooling. I definitely
Yeah,
would only do that. So,
yeah,
so yeah, I get it. So now,
yeah,
how is your wife with you playing? Is she cool with it, or
yeah. She's
is
cool
it
with it.
like, oh, it's taking away time from my, you know how sometimes it happens, like, oh, you got a new hobby and now you don't spend time with me.
No, it's like she understands this is something that um I want to do. This is kind of like I never went in the military. This is kind of an itch for me that I need
Sure.
to scratch, and it's a fun sport. And yeah, like she's supportive. Like when it comes to my birthday, she knows that I'm into the gear. It's just like you just pick out what you want from Amazon,
Oh,
grab
that's
that.
awesome.
Um,
Okay.
it's funny actually. When I left my job recently to go into teaching in another center close to where my wife works, they actually gave me like $150 at the local airsoft, store because they knew that I loved that sport so much.
Oh, that's cool,
Um,
man.
it's cool. Yeah, I'm like, you guys know me.
Right.
But yeah, back to my wife. Like she's amazing. She's really supportive, and yeah, I think there were talks like when it came to the trip coming up. At first, I was like, trying to figure out can we do both. But the amount of money we need to go to Europe is a lot of money. And
Oh,
at
sure.
first, I didn't get it. I was like, no, we could do both. It's just like I don't know. Eventually, especially when we're on the trip, I'm like, hell yeah, that was the right choice. I mean,
Yep.
I want to make the most of this while I can. I mean, airsoft will always be there as long as all my
Yep.
limbs work. I'm probably still going to be playing. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
don't be
I might
jumping off
throw
of
one.
waterfalls, okay, and
Yeah,
breaking other bones.
yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like I mean, yeah, when we have kids, it'll slow down again because you got to focus on your family,
Sure.
and then once you kind of got a rhythm going, and you can slot in a day of running around with a gun again. Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
But I think it's about the balance, and I think it's about communicating. I mean, if you don't have the right balance, yeah, you're gonna piss off wifey, and we don't want to do that because it's not how
Yeah.
this works. You want to work together throughout your marriage, and
Absolutely.
you want to make sure the other person's understood and heard and everything. So yeah,
Yeah.
I 100% just appreciate that she doesn't mind me getting into a sport that is not exactly a cheap sport. Like this gear is not cheap. Um,
Right.
it's yeah, because it doesn't end. Like there's always something else that could
It
could have
never
ends.
ends,
Like
bro.
nah, dude. Like
It
there's
never
no
ends.
yeah. I mean, I'm happy with the setup I've got for now, and I'll take it easy.
Sure.
I haven't got any like good camera stuff yet. I've just got like yeah.
So
Um,
have you looked at any other guns that, like, is there any expensive equipment you're looking at that you are really tempted to
hmm.
put in your cart, but you won't buy it yet?
um, I'm always on the lookout for secondhand actually because my first guns were secondhand and they worked fine.
Yeah.
I haven't had any issues. Well, I've only used them twice. What am I talking about? I mean, the next game could probably be train wreck.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, so far so good, and they seem to be built pretty tough. I mean, it
Right.
was I think retail that rifle would have been like $1,000 New Zealand if it was brand new, and I paid 600 and got that a handgun and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I'm like, that's a good deal. And you see people that when they leave the country don't take their gear with them. So I just keep looking on to the local eBay, the local Amazon for New Zealand is Trade Me,
Oh,
and
okay.
that's where I bought my other gear from. And sometimes they have some really cheap stuff, man. Like
Yeah.
instead of spending like $300 on some cry tactical stuff, you'd pay a whole bunch less because someone doesn't want it anymore. It's
Sure.
still good. So yeah, I'll keep my eye out on
Pro
them.
tip, people. Okay. For real.
I mean, it's a risk though. I mean,
Oh, of
if you buy
course.
it brand new, you get yourself a warranty and all that sort of stuff, and you have a consumer guarantees act. But with secondhand, you're taking a risk. I
Yeah.
mean, some of the stuff I'll buy brand new. I'll never buy like cheap Temu stuff again. That was the dumbest thing I ever did. I bought this single strap for the rifle. I only used it once, and the damn hook broke. Like literally within the first 10 minutes. I'm like, that was the dumbest thing. Like, never buying that again.
That
Yeah,
stuff looks great for pictures and those little videos they do. They
yeah,
really
yeah,
get you to click on it, and that price is like, what? And then you
yeah,
get it
yeah.
and you're like, oh shit.
That's why it's so cheap.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So that's yeah. I'll try and get some good stuff that'll last because you don't want it like stuff like that failing when you're running around because you're slinging your rifle around on that and it's not a cheap piece of kit. You want to keep
Yep.
it from going in the dirt. I mean, luckily I had my bipod to stop it from going barrel into the mud. That's a pain in the
Right.
ass to clean out and stuff. So um yeah. So moving forward, gear guns. I like um, New Zealand for a long time, their standard issue was a Steyr. I'd love to get one of those.
Yeah.
Like a classic looking one with the inbuilt like sight at the top. It's got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought that looked cool. Yeah, one of those that'll go with like, oh, if I ever wanted to go for like an old school New Zealand um, sort of vibe, I'll probably rock one of those. And then I also want to get like another M4 sort of platform rifle, I think, because I do have mag pouches that can work for those as well. So I'll probably be keen for like some sort of a standard assault setup. So that way I can have like, a Steyr is really good for indoor CQB as well because it's got it's a short platform. It's quite close. So it's kind of like having, like a submachine gun, but it's got a
Right.
similar
Like the
size.
barrel's just a little bit longer than like a
Yeah,
SMG, so it kind of makes it a little bit longer than SMG, but the whole stock and body is real
yeah,
compact. We got one
yeah,
in a mystery box when we were doing the unboxings, and it was yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to try out.
yeah,
We
yeah.
actually broke it before we were able to do a review on it, so yeah.
Oh no, what was the brand then? Like, what was that?
I honestly don't remember. I'd have to look.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember if we filmed. Well, we filmed the unboxing that we got it in, and we talked about it. And it was we got it from a BOA from the Box of Awesomeness from Evic, and we got it out. So when we took it out, it had it was used tag, whatever, and it looked like the tag said it hadn't been like the last time it was serviced or whatever was like
Right, right.
2010 or something. Okay, so it was sitting on the shelf somewhere in the
Oh
back.
wow.
Yeah. So when I took it apart, what had happened when we started shooting it to test to make sure we were able to go, review it, uh, the piston locked up. Okay, like it ground to gears and it locked up. And so I took it apart and it was really dry. And it was actually like dried up grease is
Oh
worse
right.
than,
Yeah.
yeah, it was like all seized up. So, and that's what happened. So we shot it like half a mag or something, and it just stopped. So I took it apart, and the thing was the way it was built. And we were brand new on our channel, so I wasn't real experienced with taking these things apart. When I took it apart, it was really, really different. And I never got it back together the right way because there were some springs in the way back that were like, I just couldn't do it, man. So I put all the parts in a box and I had it in the shed forever. And I don't know if we gave it to somebody. I think one of the boys took it to somebody to give it to them for free because they could put it back together, and I forgot about it. So anyway, but it looked badass.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, there's something about it. This looks cool, and this is what I've always known for a long time. New Zealand Army have always rocked one of those. I think the last 5 years, maybe a bit more, they've got these Mars L M4 sort of looking platform sort of
Oh,
rifles
okay.
now. You'll see that's what they've got.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but no, that's pretty much my airsoft where I'm at the moment and what I'm looking to. So I'd like to create more content for sure. I
Okay.
have got like the laptop that can put together the editing, and it took me a long time to put this first video because I wanted to create the logo. I wanted to create like And that took long enough. I mean,
I was
like,
gonna
I
say,
don't know how
how'd you
to.
come up with the name and the logo and stuff?
Yeah, so my buddy of mine, RJ, gave me this nickname Headrush a long time ago. We were having shisha one night, um, and I wasn't on anything. I don't really do much of that sort of stuff, but like, I had a real light head. There's one New Year's Eve, and I had a head rush from the shisha, and he's like, "Oh, head rush," because my last name's Rush. So that kind of stuck for a while, and he'd
Sure.
always refer to me as Headrush. And then I was talking to him about doing airsoft and doing a channel, and he's like, "Dude, you have to call it Headrush." I'm like, I don't know, man. It sounds a bit cheesy. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
But when it
I don't
came to
think
my
so. I think it sounds awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but when I first went to my first game, I hadn't quite figured out what to call. I didn't know you had to have a call sign. But he's like, "No, you need a call sign because if you don't give me one, I'm going to make one." I'm like, "Shit, they're probably going to come up with something
They're gonna
really,
cut.
really bad." Yeah.
Pink tutu.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty much. Because I could, other guys would introduce themselves with their call sign. I was like, "I bet you didn't choose that." Like, there's one guy, big guy, he's like, "Hey, so I'm Muffin Man." I'm like, "Muffin Man? Really?" That's your I'm like, "Hey, man, that's cool." I mean,
Yep.
but I wouldn't pick that for myself, you know?
Right.
So yeah, yeah. So I'm like, I better go with what the first thing came to my mind is, okay, look, head rush, that's my call sign. So then after that, that's it. I
Oh
had
yeah.
to just rolling with it now.
Done deal,
So
brother.
yeah, yeah. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I played around with different logos and stuff. I went and got some free vectors and just started experimenting, um, and just putting it together basically. And then I finally, because I don't really use Photoshop, it's not my trade. I don't do design,
Yeah.
but I kind of just figured out stuff enough to put it together myself. And then I've got like Adobe Premiere and all that sort of thing. So I've kind of slowly started to create this video, my first video
Yeah.
of that first game, and I've tried to incorporate things like I've created a map using Google Maps and just created, like so I've got like these things that move and show you the like I'm trying to make it so that, for example, when you're playing a game like I used to play back in high school, Brothers in Arms used to go into like a top-down mode. You could sort of see where everyone was.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
trying to recreate some of that element in there as well of like, okay, so we've pushed past this part. We're now at the gun placement. We're here, and then these guys are still here. So now we have to do this. So I'm trying to like, I haven't created that part yet. I'm still going to do the voiceover and the map and all that sort of thing. But I haven't seen too many other players do it on YouTube. So I'm trying to just be creative and just try different stuff because I know that I would get bored watching someone just running around. I want to see if I can, you know, break it up with some other stuff, other elements, because
Yeah.
it's hard for players to understand the map. It's hard for them to understand what the situation actually is. I'm trying to figure out what can I do to tell that story, show what's happening, and maybe some of the tactics that are involved, or lack thereof, or whatever. It's just that's kind of what I'm trying to finish doing before I put it up. But yeah, that's
Okay.
my plan. Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of all that, what tell everybody where they can find all your like your YouTube channel and your
Yeah.
Twitter and or your socials.
Basically, just type in Headrush Airsoft on. You won't find any videos on YouTube.
Okay.
You might be able to find my channel um, on there, but yeah, you'll see when it comes up on Twitter or Instagram. That's kind of the only two other things I use is those two.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm active on Twitter and Instagram under Headrush
Awesome.
Airsoft or call sign Headrush. I think I've called it. Yeah, call sign Headrush. Yeah, man.
Awesome. Yeah, it's on Twitter it is Headrush Airsoft or at Headrush Airsoft. Yeah,
Cool.
that's cool. Awesome, man. And I'll have all those links in here too, so for the
Yeah, man.
video when it comes out. But man, it's been great talking with you. It's really good to meet you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking forward to
Likewise,
your
man.
video coming out. Um, yeah, so now the pressure's on. Okay, once you get some content, once you get some content recorded, and this goes for everyone out there that's a content creator, and you're like, oh no, I got to hurry up and put this thing out, because it's like it's always in the back of your mind. Like I got this, I already got the footage. I just need to put it all together and do that. And
Yeah,
it's kind of a big task in your head. Like once you
yeah,
start,
yeah.
like you can do a little bit of time, save it, do a little bit of time, save it. but you'll get there, man. It's cool. I'm looking forward to
Thanks,
it.
man. Appreciate it. Hey, man, really, really enjoyed the conversation. It's just like, it's kind of cool. It's a good vibe. It's kind of like, it feels like we've already hung out before, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of
Same.
it's really chill. Yeah, it's been really, really nice. So, who knows, man? If we do another one in like 5 years' time, if you're still doing this, we'll see what the difference is. Whether, you know, where am I at? You know,
Right.
whether have I grown this thing? Is it still the same?
Oh
Like,
no,
who
you're
knows? You
you're
know?
going to be a return guest in like 3 or 4 months. No, five
Oh wow,
years. Oh
that's
yeah, I
definitely
have
soon.
a lot of people. There's a lot of people I have on for a second time, third time, whatever.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, they'll hit me up and say, "Hey man, I played this big event. I want to come on here and talk about it." I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's go." You know.
Oh
So
man, that's cool. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, definitely look forward to it again, man, for sure. Like
cool,
it's been really fun. Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much, man. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend.
You too, bro. Have a good one.